Hi there, welcome to my channel again. This is Christina with Christina's Imperfect Wellness Adventure. I am so happy that you have stopped in, and today I'm going to share with you a couple of my creations. And I want to tell you that making paintings like I did today is not something I normally do. It's not something I ever thought I would do. I considered myself non-creative. I was like, I'm not creative. I can't paint. I can't do any of these things. But my channel is about people my age, 40 and above, which if you're younger, great. Maybe you can learn something new. But for people my age, I'm sharing my story, obviously, and wellness is super important to me. And one of the parts of wellness is growth, personal growth, doing new things, reading new books, trying out new things that aren't necessarily in your comfort zone. So I wanted to say thank you to a friend of mine. Her name is Joyce, and I will link her YouTube channel. She has a ministry, she has a job, and she has a business called Paint and Heal. And it has been such a blessing in my life. And so about 3 years ago, her and I were talking. We've been friends since high school. We went to the same church back in New York, and she started asking me if I wanted to paint. We started talking about her starting her business. And so then I decided to do a few projects with her. This may have been my first project or second, I can't remember, but I love sunflowers. Who doesn't love sunflowers? So we did this one, and we did them virtually. So she would do it on the TV, and I had some people in my church. We did it together, and that was a lot of fun. I think this is the one I did with our group in Missouri, and it's not finished yet. So this is part of my story. Sometimes things don't get finished all the way. This should say love in the middle or some kind of thing. And there's a few dots maybe around, or some outlining. Outlining is my biggest challenge. I have such a hard time. And why am I telling you about this? I want you to know it's fun, first of all, to be creative, even if you're not a painter. But besides that, it's also it's a stretching. For me, it was even before starting this YouTube channel or even thinking about starting a YouTube channel, it was about creating, breaking the lid I had put on myself, saying that I'm not creative. I had this lid that said, I'm not creative, I can't do that. And I am done saying I cannot do that. So, and this has been a little process. Nothing happens overnight. Like I said, this has been 3 or 4 years. So I had we did an event with my church with a different friend of mine here that's in business in town. And so I ended up doing these 2 projects here, which was so fun. I love this, one of my favorite colors. And then with that same person, we did this. And I love this. So what I'm wanting to say about all of this is do something different. I will tell you, part of my story is when I was in my 40s, we made a move. And in that move, I was given a new job. And I honestly thought at that point, I had pretty much learned all that I could learn. I was going into an office to work in a church, a large church, and in the office database and that type of thing. And I felt like it was beyond me. I'm like, I'm not a typist. I'm not a secretary. Those are not my skills. But I was willing. However, I thought I had really reached my capacity for learning new things. And going to that job expanded me to know that, hey, I'm in my 40s, but I can learn so much new. Now I'm in my 50s, and I'm just not done learning. I'm always wanting to learn. Like, it instilled in me a new hunger for learning. And I want to encourage you to do that. Do something new. Read a book. And if you're not a reader, listen to an audiobook and join a book club. Do a painting. Do something different. Try something new and grow. The other part of my story and my wellness adventure is in my 40s. I also was introduced to Melaleuca, the wellness company, by my best friend. And the first thing I started doing when I started shopping at that store online was removing toxins from my home and starting to take some vitamins for myself. Now, I have 5 children, So in my 40s, they were still all home and I was depleted. And so part of that story for me and my wellness journey also was starting to take care of me and starting to understand that my kids aren't going to have a good experience if their mom is not healthy. And my marriage needed to be healthy. And that meant I needed to grow. I needed to care for myself. And I'm not big into the whole self-care when it's very selfish oriented, but the Bible does say to love others. First of all, love God, right? Someone asked Jesus about the commandments, and he said, the most important commandment, of course, is love the Lord your God with all your heart, soul, mind, and strength. But the second is like unto it, love your neighbor as yourself. And love others as you love yourself. Well, what does that mean? There is a depth to self-care that is spiritual, emotional, mental, all of that, and physical. Because how can we give to others if we are not caring for ourselves? And that's not just pedicures. That's not just going for a massage. That is spiritually caring for ourselves, emotionally caring for ourselves. And so my wellness journey is very well-rounded. It's not just one thing. It's not just shopping at a wellness store. That is amazing, and I love it, and I want everyone to shop there. It's not just reading a book and praying a lot. It is getting to know the Lord. I mean, that is essential in my wellness adventure, is knowing Jesus, and he is the joy of my life. But also he wants me to be healthy emotionally. He wants me to have a renewed mind, so I'm not always, having all the negative things and living in this negative zone. Because you can't, if you're living in Jesus, you can't live in that negative zone. You won't be happy. You won't have joy, because Jesus is that joy. And then doing new things, creative things. So that has been a really awesome thing. Now, is this perfect? And you know what? If I was so enamored with or wrapped up with the outcome of a perfect outcome, I could never do this, because I would say I can't do it. I can't do it. Because why? Because I can't do it perfectly, because I can't do it as good as somebody else. And so breaking out of that mold and letting myself be creative, I'm encouraging you, do the same thing. Be creative, even if it's imperfect, even if it's not as good as somebody else. It just doesn't matter. This is a creation of mine that is like no one else's. It's unique. It's one of a kind. And so it has been fun. It has been fun stretching and breaking out of that, where that rigid box that we put ourselves in, because, sometimes other people put us in limitations. So that is a thing. But often it's us letting ourselves be put into a box and put into a limitation, and it's time to just break out and try something new, do something creative. Like for me, it's the garden. This is fun. This is not my heart, but it's fun. The garden has a different thing for me. Writing, like I actually want to write a book, but that's a scary, scary, scary thing. So whatever it is for you, do something new. Start sourdough bread. That's an adventure for people who want to try it. But just do something new and do it anyway. Do it even if you can't do it perfectly. And find somebody to do it with. That is an important key, is having community. In fact, today, the person where I went to do this painting today was at a nursery in Russellville, Arkansas, called Green Thumb Nursery. And her sole purpose is just to have community, just to have someone to craft with and do something fun with. And so that was really awesome. Get to know new people. Break out of just my zone. It's not a comfort zone. It's just like where I am. Sometimes you have to go different places, meet new people to get, have your life enhanced with relationships and community. So like I say frequently, I try to say it every video, I try to remember, is perfect is overrated, but progress is where it's at. So y'all have a wonderful day. And please put in the comments what's something new that you have tried. And again, like, subscribe, do all the YouTubey things. I would really appreciate that. But most of all, I would love to have conversations. So please let me know something that you have done new, something you want to do new. Have you painted before? What have you done different? All right. God bless.